Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Must Play, a FairWagers golf podcast where we evaluate the country's most talked about golf courses to determine if they are truly a must play. And I'm Shawn Massey.
I'm T.J. Van Guyton.
And today we're discussing the Raptor Course at Grayhawk Golf Club here in Scottsdale, Arizona. And our guest this week is Kubari Eady, a stand-up comedian and fellow golfer here in AZ. Welcome to the pod.
TJ and Shawn, thank you for having me.
Kubari, word on the street is you had your first hole-in-one the other week at Starfire.
It's very true. Let me first say about that hole-in-one that it was witnessed by my girlfriend. She does not watch anything on the course but the animals. But this hole, she was watching me. I put it on the green. It rolled a little bit, then dropped down in, man. It was a magical moment. I'll never forget it.
That feels great, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's incredible, man. It's good. I've talked to a lot of other golfers. They're like, man, I've been doing this 50 years, man. I never come through with a hole-in-one. So I feel very fortunate. I'm gonna go to Vegas here soon.
Shawn, do you have any aces? I can't remember.
I have two. I promise that wasn't a segue for me bragging about my aces. The one that I think counts was because the other was a par 3 course, but the one was on Kierland on Father's Day, and my dad got to see it. That was really cool. Yeah,
very nice course.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
Let's talk about
the running. That brings the running total of hole-in-ones on the pod to 3.
For the all right, man. Keep working. Keep striving. Keep putting it on the green.
Yeah. So it's gonna be 112 here today, but I think you squeaked out over 18 holes this morning, didn't you? You played this morning too?
I did, and the weather just does not control my golfing. If it gets hot, man, it just doesn't matter. We get out here. I play Starfire golf course mostly, and there I have a little summer pass, $10-20 golf, and when I'm out there alone, it's even better working on the game, even better.
But now you kind of live close to Grayhawk, right?
I do. I actually live in the Grayhawk community. Raptor Retreat. I walk the course all the time. I used to steal golf there. Can I say that?
Oh yeah.
I used to go down there at twilight with my pitcher and a few golf balls and steal a little bit of golf. This was when I was just learning, and eventually played the course myself. But I've done some weird things on that course. Man, I take my shoes off. I walk the fairways, man. I feel the earth beneath me. It's a beautiful course. Big long fairways, big huge pot bunkers, white sand. The greens have different levels to them, very challenging, and a good course to just walk, man. Take your shoes off and feel the earth.
So before we talk about our first impressions of Grayhawk, you grew up in San Diego, you said earlier, and so TJ's in San Diego, I'm here in Arizona. You've got kind of connections to us both. But like, what was your history growing up with golf? How early did you take it up, and how often do you play these days?
Shawn, my history is limited. I just started golfing in December.
Wow.
My
you have an ace in your first year?
Yeah. Come on, man.
My dad came out for Christmas. We went down to Starfire, got a tee time. And let me tell you, man, I was bad. I was terrible. I was beyond bad. I embarrassed my dad that day. And I didn't like that about myself. And so shortly after that, I came to Grayhawk, the golf course. Shout out to Jeff Yurkowitz, my golf coach there. Took a couple of lessons, and these words stand with me to this day. I was like, "Yo, Jeff, man, how do I get better at this game, man? I just want to be in the game. I want to be competitive. I want to be all the way over to the right all the time. Help me to get competitive." And he looked straight through me and said, "You gotta play." And I was like, "That's fair. That's fair."
Yeah, it's like a slap in the face.
And I've been working on it ever since. I see him every couple of months or so. And just for the last 7 months, I've been able to dedicate a good bit of time to the game, especially in my mornings. And that's another reason. But I do a course early in the morning, like at dawn, just so I can get it in early.
Right.
My dad did share golf with me as I was growing up as a child, but I was more so into basketball, football, those kind of sports. I just didn't really get it. And it's crazy that I see kids playing today, and I can't understand how you get your boys together and go play golf. I mean, I understand it as an adult, but if I'm 14, am I doing that? Would I be doing that? I'm not sure. But
yeah,
I see it today, and I appreciate it. I love to see it, man.
I think we've all talked about it on the pod, where if all of us could go back and tell our 14, 13, 15-year-old selves to
get out there, dude,
pick up a golf club more frequently, like we all would, right? Like I would have loved to not have picked this up in my mid-30s.
Sure. Me too, man. If I can go back and do it earlier. But you know what? We got the present. We're present. Exactly.
So does golf make it into the stand-up routine now?
Oh yeah. So I'm a producer of comedy shows as well, and I have a couple of golf communities that I've opened up comedy shows at, right in their clubhouse in their lounge area, and down south Sun Lakes Golf Course is the one that comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole community, a lot of people from the community come out, and to reach those people, I tell golf jokes. And it's funny about golf jokes. If you tell it to a general audience, just like at a club or something, people are like, ha 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 ha. But if you tell it to a golf audience, man, oh, the place just erupts.
Oh yeah,
they understand the language. They know exactly what I'm talking about. It's really fun to break out my golf routine for golfers. One of my goals in comedy is to tell jokes at the Masters.
Oh, that's a great goal.
Like a banquet.
I like that a lot.
You know how they bring out Steve Harvey? The NFL brings out Steve Harvey, and he's like roasting Peyton Manning and all this stuff. I'm going to do that at the Masters, man, straight up.
Can you picture that? That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It'd be so much better than whatever they got going now.
Yeah. Well, you know, I haven't even attended the Masters, so I got a long way to go.
Got to hit that lottery. I mean, I haven't made it yet, and every year I get the notice that I'm not picked.
Yo, keep the pod going. Going.
All right. Well, so you're in the Grayhawk community. Both you and TJ played Grayhawk in later. Well, I'd say like early in your golf career, if we can call it a career for both of you guys, right? And I want to know, like, kind of what you thought about the course in comparison to other courses you've been playing recently. I don't know, maybe Kubari, you want to start?
Yeah. So one of the things that I'm big on is, growing the game, spreading the game to people that don't know it. So I brought my girl. I said, let's take a lesson. I took her to Jeff Yerkowitz at Grayhawk. We hopped in the cart. We go underneath a tunnel. We come up on the other side where there's a green and a driving range. And my girl looks around. Mind you, she's not big on golf yet. She looks around and says, "Oh yeah, this is nice. This is really nice. Really plush. They have these little golf bags full of white balls at the driving range. You know what I'm saying? Not these yellow balls with these buckets. You know what I'm saying? Just a full bag of balls.
The ball machine with the 6-pin
no
code.
Ball
You gotta
machine,
go
no codes.
Nope.
Just all the balls you want. Go for it. You know, and that's the first time I've ever experienced something like that. I've seen it again, but I brought my girl there. I brought my son. I have a 12-year-old son I brought there to take lessons. He hasn't played there yet, and I myself, I've played both courses, the Talon and the what's the other one called? Is it the
Raptor?
It's Raptor.
Raptor. I played both courses, Talon and Raptor, recently, and top notch, I would say. Beautiful landscape, McDowell Mountains in a number of shots on the backdrop. Just a really nice course.
Yep.
Yeah.
TJ, what did you think for the first time?
I was going to say I had a very similar experience. I think I think it's been about a month since we played Grayhawk. I think we played maybe first week of August.
Same.
Yeah. And pulling up, it's phenomenal to pull into. Very nice, welcoming clubhouse. Great bag drop station. Very well attended to. Like it's not one of those ones where you're not sure where you're supposed to take your bags to, or there's nobody out there. Like it's very well staffed. Walking into the clubhouse, it's immaculate. Like coffee shop, locker room, pro shop. Like it's when you think of like it almost gives the allure of private golf, but it's public golf.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of what you would almost expect if you walked into a private golf clubhouse with the locker room, the separate coffee shop, the restaurant there, and then just how vast the pro shop is, and then obviously getting into the actual course itself. It's a great course. Can't knock it. I think Shawn and I got a little delirious as the day went on, as the temperatures rose. I think we had an 8 a.m. tee time, so by the time that we got off, it was about noon. It was a Friday. We both weren't working, so we definitely had a few beverages on the course. So the combination of a few beverages plus a little bit of sun will kind of do a number on you by noon. What about you, Shawn? What do you remember about that day, or do you have prior experiences to that?
I can't remember my first time because I grew up in Scottsdale, not far from this course. I just remember playing it in high school. I know I played it earlier than high school, but I used to do a bunch of JPGA tournaments out here, and the nicer courses would host the championship stuff. I was never good enough to make it to the championship, so I never got the invite to go play. But I know I had played it in one of the rotations. But in high school, I started to get the taste for Scottsdale golf that was north of the 101, because when I grew up out here, Pima Road was the main road, and there was no 101 freeway that came over the north.
I see.
So everything we played was south, and we would play. Starfire used to be called Scottsdale Country Club. We'd play there. We would go play Continental, any of those courses. And so when I would play Grayhawk, I would put pressure on myself. I remember to be better, because I was like, oh, this is a nice course. I don't want to be an idiot on this course. And I just remember it eating me up. I was in the desert all the time in high school. I had a really bad TJ jokes, because I joke in the past tense that I had a bad slice. But it definitely took my lunch. But after that, I just remember the course and the staff and the clubhouse and everything was such a cool place to hang out after. I always wanted to hang out. At that time, I was really big into practicing, so I would hit the range after a round sometimes, and talk about, like you mentioned, the range just over there on the Isabel side, on the south side by Talon. So nice. Yeah. So yeah.
And I want to say on the pro shop, I know we're going to ask this question later, but you walk in there and there's stuff that you want to buy. The name Grayhawk, even before I ever played there or lived here, I saw it on Phil Mickelson's bag once. Yeah. I saw Grayhawk Golf Club, and I go in there, and like you said, the pro shop, man, it's vast, and there's stuff there that you want to walk away with some Grayhawk gear. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Yeah. Phil's bag comes into my history lesson here.
Okay, nice.
Can we use that as a segue?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, right into it.
Perfect. I promise I didn't plan any of this. All right, before we get into that, I just want to make sure we hear more about today's sponsor, Brawn Fox, whose hats we're wearing today. So let's hear more about our sponsor.
Today's episode of Must Play is sponsored by Brawn Fox. Brawn Fox offers premium golf hats, towels, and more that were born by their founder's vision to combine a classic golf look with a new, innovative style, all while remaining affordable. And speaking of remaining affordable, Brawn Fox is giving a 15% off discount to all new customers. Just visit brawnandfox.com/FairWagers. That's BrawnandFox.com/FairWagers to claim your discount today.
Let's dive into the history of Grayhawk. You already mentioned Phil's bag. That's going to come into it here. But Kubari, you've listened to the Wildwood podcast, you said, and I took it back to Lewis and Clark.
Yeah,
I famously go too far back in history, I think.
I don't think there's a such thing. There's no such thing. Okay. Yeah.
I appreciate that. Where do you think we'll start the history for Grayhawk?
Jesus Christ.
That was not an exclamation. That was a declaration.
Take it back to the Lord.
Ancient Rome. I'm just kidding. Okay, so for this history, I'm actually not going that far back. This might be the most recent history I've done. I'm only going back to 83. But I'll explain why here. So if we're going to talk about golf in North Scottsdale, we need to first understand how golf became synonymous with this region of the valley. And I think there's no better place to start than the PGA Skins Game. So the PGA Skins Game was a golf tournament that was held annually from 1983 to 2008, and usually was in November or December after the PGA Tour season had ended. The event was created by Don Ohlmeyer and Gary Frank and featured 4 of the biggest names in golf competing in a match play format to win individual holes or skins. The Skins Game was an unofficial money event that was recognized by the PGA Tour, but it didn't count towards anything on the official money list. The tournament, though, was known for its made-for-TV format and had huge payouts, and at times it had TV ratings that were higher than all the majors except for the Masters. So the first Skins Game was held at Desert Highlands Golf Club in Scottsdale, Arizona in 1983, and it featured Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Gary Player, and Tom Watson. Maybe you guys have heard of them. The event was an immediate success, and it brought millions of eyes on North Scottsdale as a golf destination. So in the next 10 years, as a lot of interest in North Scottsdale for golf started to blow up, TPC Scottsdale, True North, Boulders, and over a dozen more courses would all open in that 10-year span in Scottsdale, as the city was both exploding in population and rounds of golf played. It was therefore a no-brainer for Greg Trihus and Del Cochran, the founders of Grayhawk Golf Club, to choose North Scottsdale as the home for their new course. Greg and Del reportedly wanted to build a place that took the game and lifestyle seriously while also hosting big events down the road. They would eventually open to the public in 1994 with the first course, Talon, an 18-hole championship desert course designed by U.S. Open champion David Graham and golf architect Gary Panks. Talon boasted a longer layout at the time compared to nearby courses in Scottsdale, with a near 7,000-yard layout that was woven through box canyons and plenty of desert landscape. The Raptor course, though, would open a year later in 1995, designed by legendary golf course architect Tom Fazio, the Foz, and stretched over 7,100 yards. Raptor was intended for tournament play and offered a more traditional style of play with deeper greenside bunkers and fairways that baited you into taking off as much as you dared from the tee. So it didn't take long for Grayhawk to host its first professional tournament either, because in 1995 they hosted the Dell Match Play Tournament and would go on to host a few more times. Greg Norman won the event in 1997, and all of a sudden there was a lot of extra attention on the course because Greg Norman was huge, obviously, at that time. In 1995, also, it saw the opening of a brand new pro shop and 2 restaurants, the Quill Creek Cafe and Phil's Grill, an indoor-outdoor restaurant named after Phil, who early on was sponsored by Grayhawk and frequented the club. And then here's the story about Phil I mentioned at the top. So, quick side story. When Grayhawk had just opened up, they made a deal with Phil Mickelson that they would give him $10,000 a year for 3 years to promote their club. An important point to be noted here is that Mickelson had not made it big in the golf industry yet. So for him, bagging this deal would have been amazing. However, by the end of those 3 years, Phil had won over the golf world and had multiple victories under his belt. He was now too expensive for Grayhawk, so they decided, unfortunately, to let him go. But Phil didn't let them go, and he agreed to follow on the same terms and conditions as before for the rest of his golfing career. So Grayhawk supported Phil when his future on the PGA Tour was uncertain, and they believed in him, and so he repaid them with kindness. And he has been connected with the club ever since and still rocks the Grayhawk logo on his bag to this day, even on Live. Pretty cool, right?
Yeah.
That's like, I know Phil gets a lot of rap for about a lot of things that he's done, but that's a really cool story to hear about Phil.
Yeah. So back to Grayhawk, and more specifically Raptor. Eventually, they would even get a fully sanctioned PGA Tour event, then called the Fries.com Open, and hosted it for only 3 years from 2007 to 2009. And in 2012, Grayhawk would add another restaurant to the course called Isabel's, located on the south side next to the Talon course in the range, as well as a coffee shop called Morning Joint. Some people call it just Mojo's. And the course was becoming a large magnet for the continued development of North Scottsdale, and they wanted to offer residents a way to enjoy the property without having a tee time. So these days, Isabella's patio is one of the places that you'll find a lot of people at sunset, especially in the winter, enjoying the sunset and the views behind the range and some good food and cocktails. Raptor, though, would notch another win under its belt in 2021 when it was announced that the course would play host to the NCAA Division I men's and women's golf championship from 21 to 23. And have play televised on the Golf Channel. The course proved to be a tough test in the heat, and mostly Sunbelt schools like ASU and Texas would have great results over those 3 years. But, quick trivia question for you guys. Can either of you name the 2022 NCAA men's individual champion in this tournament who won and would go on to play in the 2023 Masters? My clue to you is he hits the ball a mile.
It's not Nick Dunlop, is it?
No. You're in the right vicinity of.
I know.
I'm going to throw my guess out there. Oberg.
No, not
that was my. That was my other one that I was probably going to guess.
You want me to tell you?
Yeah,
it's Gordon Sargent.
Sargent.
I wouldn't have.
You ever seen him hit the ball, man? It just sounds different.
Yeah.
So after the last NCAA tournament 23, Grayhawk would also announce that it was being acquired by Arcus Golf as one of the crown jewels in the valley for Arcus.
Mm-hmm.
So this would bring with it all kinds of summer pass deals like the Crazy Eights, where you can buy 8 rounds of golf for $400 in the summer. But today, Grayhawk is actually having hundreds of thousands of rounds played on both courses each year, and it's well known for always being in great shape. This is in large part due to the agronomy team led by Ernie Pock, whose family's pedigree in golf superintendents goes back to the 40s, when his great-grandfather, J.D. Woodward, built the second 9 at Arizona Country Club, as well as Desert Forest up in Carefree. So Ernie's father would not only build both courses at Grayhawk, but also True North, Whisper Rock, and other valley courses, earning him a membership in the Arizona Golf Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of family pride in the reason why Grayhawk's always taken care of and in great shape.
Beautiful.
Yeah. So even though the course is usually in immaculate shape, thanks to the explosion of courses in Scottsdale and throughout the valley, Grayhawk can sometimes get overlooked by visitors to the area, which is a shame because I personally believe Raptor and Talon are both some of the best desert golf courses you'll get to play in Scottsdale.
Mm-hmm.
So not that far ago in history, only in the 80s, but I feel like that's good context for, its place in Scottsdale now. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that the courses have only been open 30 years. Like some reason, I feel like I've always, don't get me wrong, it's not like I'm much older than 30, but I feel like I've just always heard Grayhawk talked about. So it feels, for a lot of times a course to just come in and cement itself as a very nice course like that, and very respectable, doesn't always happen. So that was very cool.
Yeah, to hear that the course superintendence goes back like that, and it's a family thing. These courses are well maintained, extremely well taken care of, and I imagine that it takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of understanding of how to care for a course to get it this way. And of the courses that I've played, both in Scottsdale, all of Phoenix, and San Diego and whatnot, one of the most immaculately kept courses is both Raptor and Talon.
TJ and I played it right after it came out of airification. They close the courses, they stagger them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was expecting, this is not going to be great. You're going to see those patches of grass with the squares and the greens. It was actually, I was impressed.
It was in very good shape.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it justify the price? We'll talk about in a second, but it is always in great shape.
Yeah. I also appreciate how they keep the tee boxes. They have so many different levels of tee boxes there. I think 4, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
And
4, and then they have 2 combo sets too, don't they? I think they have a combo set of the front 2, and then a combo set of the middle.
I see. Yeah. And they're always well taken care of. You go to some of these courses, the tee boxes are littered with broken tees. The divots aren't fixed there at all, but these tee boxes are real clean.
Yeah. So I have a fun fact and 2 trivia questions for you guys. So the fun fact about Raptor Course, it used to host the Tommy Bahama Challenge in 2004 and 2005, a PGA Tour sanctioned event that featured, in their language, 4 quote-unquote young guns from the U.S. and a match play competition against a team of international young guns.
Okay.
I encourage anyone to go look up the Tommy Bahama Challenge. First of all, the fashion, the clothes at the time in 2004, so good. You can picture it in your head. And the young guns for the U.S. were Zach Johnson, so a young Zach Johnson, and Ryan Moore facing off Ian Poulter and Justin Rose in the baggiest of clothes.
Wow.
It was looked really cool.
Yeah.
You know, what's funny about that is you like make a comment about the clothes for the Tommy Bahama challenge. And I'm sure that the shirts that they were wearing then are fully back in style right now.
Yeah.
Like, because we are like for those who don't know at home, I work in the fashion industry. I work for a men's clothing brand, and it is fully coming back circular right now, where like all the stuff that was popular in like our junior and senior years of high school, Shawn, is fully back. Like I saw today that people looking for boat shoes was at its highest it's ever been. It's at an all-time high. And like the Sperry's are coming back. So I'm sure that the Tommy Bahama shirts still play right now.
Is it time to pull them out of the closet? Should I rock them again?
Tell your dads, tell your grandpas, but that if they're not wearing those Tommy Bahama shirts, you want them.
Yeah. We got a standing appointment at Tommy Bahama Weekly in Kierland. In here in Phoenix. And you go in there and it's just so many floral patterns, man. I'm not sure that stuff is coming back, is it?
I don't know. But Tommy Bahamas in Kierland is such an underrated spot when you go upstairs. That bar right there.
Upstairs is clean, man. Very nice.
Yeah. That's a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I got trivia for you guys. First one's about Scottsdale itself. So how many courses today do you think there are, public and private combined, in Scottsdale? In Scottsdale, and I mean the defined border of Scottsdale.
All the way north, which is the tough part.
Yeah, but not including Mesa, Phoenix, or anything like that. So
just but the
public and private combined.
As far north as is Boulders outside of Scottsdale?
Well, so Carefree and Cave Creek are their own cities. So
okay,
I'm not gonna. I won't say much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say 21.
Okay.
I was thinking the same. I'm at 25.
The answer is 51 in Scottsdale alone.
Smokes.
Yeah. But let me tell you, though, I traveled to San Diego recently, was looking for a tee time. I needed to rent clubs, and I had my girl with me, so we needed a cart. We need those things for ourselves. We had to go far and wide to get it, all that stuff together. Here in Scottsdale, man, it's Mecca golf, dude. It's you can get whatever you need, however you need it. It's a golf Mecca to me.
Yeah,
I agree. We're spoiled. Anytime I go out to him and I'm like, pull up Golf Now, there's 3 courses that are on Golf Now. The rest are JC or their city. And I'm like,
we're going through it right now where we really want to play Coronado when Shawn's out in 2 weeks. And we're having a very tough time finding a tee time on a Tuesday.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Other trivia question for you guys. Phil Mickelson obviously had a huge influence on this course in Clubhouse. And he gave Grayhawk a signed flag from his 2021 U.S. Open win at Kiowa, which I'll put a picture on YouTube. It's hanging right there in the locker room. Really cool to see. Also in the locker room is his old Stinger club, wood, fairway wood, if you see it in there. But I wanted you guys to tell me if you can remember, how old was Phil when he won the U.S. Open in 2021, becoming the oldest men's major champion in golf history at the time?
42.
46.
50. He was almost 51. He was like 3 weeks away.
Wow.
50
I was
years
say,
old.
Who would have known that the answer to both of your trivia questions were probably going to be 51?
50s, yeah.
Only me.
Well, that gives me a lot of hope, man. I'm late picking up golf.
There you go.
But here's this man doing it in his 50s. He's like the LeBron James of golf, man. You know?
Yeah.
Cool.
Just doesn't stop.
Yeah.
Got it. All right, I think it's time to talk about some specific goods we have on the course. Usually TJ kicks us off here. So TJ, what do you have on your list?
I mean, I'll lead it off with one that everybody knows I'm a stickler for: practice facilities.
Yeah.
The morning that Shawn and I played, I believe the range on the Raptor side was closed. So we had to drive over to Talon. But like Kubari had touched upon very earlier on, the range over at Talon is phenomenal. All the balls you could ever want to hit, plenty of targets, plenty of space. It was not one of those ones where it was a grass range and I was struggling to find a spot to stand in because the grass had just been torn up. I know that we had been there earlier in the day, so that gives it a little asterisk. But on top of that, a dedicated chipping range with like a with a nice another set of range balls and a ball picker so that you can actually warm up on chipping. It's not the, okay, I grabbed 3 balls out of my bag and I hit those 3 chips and okay, those felt okay and I'm done. Like if you wanted to hit 10 different shots of 5 different shot shapes or lofts or whatever, like you can do it and do it in a quick amount of time. And then Kubari talked about the greens having a lot of tiers to them. The practice green also has a lot of tiers to it, so you can kind of get used to how some of those balls break, play around with your pace a little bit. But I can't say enough things about if you are a person who likes to get to the course early, whether you like to practice or not, this is worth going early for.
Yeah, I struggle with going uphill on putts, and just sitting there practicing my uphill putts is is a great start for warm up for that course. And it's rare that you can find a course with practice chipping, so definitely appreciate that.
Kubari, what's your practice routine look like before you play? Are you like TJ? Do you get there early, or you kind of just hit the musts, or not even hit at all? What do you do?
I start with a banana and an apple just to get myself a little sugar in the system. No, if I can, I like to get there early, do some putting, some long putts, but then focus on those short putts, 4 or 5 feet, line up 4 or 5 balls, and just kind of try to play with the pace, see the hole, and then if I can, I make it to the range. And my Achilles heel is that driver in that slice. So just work on trying to straighten it out, get it as forward as possible. Work for me, it's smooth swinging, man. If I'm swinging it smooth, my coach always tells me about fundamentals, my setup, my approach. And so just kind of working on those things before I get out to the course is really important. But I've also flown in there at the last minute, man, and handed the backdrop guy my bag and said, I got to get to it, hit the first tee box cold. So, but if everything goes right, I definitely want to have a good something in my stomach, because I play better, with something in my stomach. And then let me add something else, stretching. The other day, I stretched in the middle of a round. We got to hole 10, and I just kind of did a full body stretch. You know what I'm saying? Kind of worked it out a little bit, and I felt really good after that. So I've been incorporating more stretching into legs too. My back, my legs, my quads, even up to the upper body, my whole back with a little rotation thing. Stretching is really key. My son is incredibly flexible. I watch him swing it, and he gets all the way back in here with his backswing, and I don't have that movement, man. But stretching helps me to get a little bit more deeper into that backswing.
You know how golfers talk about how they don't feel warm until they're on like the 4th hole, and it's because their body has finally warmed up and loosened up. These are things that can help solve those for you. Even if you absolutely. like Alex talked about, doesn't really have a warm-up routine, just likes to get a good stretch in. And that's one of those things that can help you, because it'll get you relaxed. It'll get you set up a little bit more properly. You won't be as rigid,
Sure.
But I won't diatribe about coaching principles.
Yeah. I fall prey to Instagram ads and stuff like that. And lately I've been getting this one about golf flexibility, and I didn't want to pay for it, so I just watched the videos and just redid what they were doing. You know what I'm saying? I might end up going in, but it just brings something new to my mind, that golf flexibility, just being able to get into that backswing. It's something that a player like me needs. I haven't really unlocked distance with my driver or any other. I'm not a distance hitter yet, but I have a feeling my flexibility is going to be part of that.
For sure. Yeah, for sure it will be. Yeah. You mentioned food. TJ, I know, is probably going to mention food as a good for this course, because we both had a pretty good chicken Caesar wrap, I believe.
To start?
Maybe the best I've ever had.
At the turn.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I had food offerings down here for the holy trifecta, before, during, and after a round. We got there early, got a good cup of coffee at Mojo. They have those little protein balls. If anyone's ever been to Bandon, they talk about like the little peanut butter, oat, chocolate protein balls. They have a wide variety of those in there. So those were a good little like snack while I was out on the range. They're really easy to put down. At the turn, we had a crazy good chicken Caesar wrap.
Nice.
And then both restaurants on property, both Phil's on the Raptor side and then Isabella's on the other side, are phenomenal food offerings. Shawn and I, we did Isabella's that day and it was pretty good. But you said you played again recently and you went to Phil's.
Yeah, I took my girl to Phil's. I had the wings, of course. Fabulous. Really good.
Wings are real good at Phil's, yeah.
We're sitting there looking over the 18th fairway, seeing people come through, you know what I'm saying, judging them. And we really get we really had a good meal there. Just a really nice place, man. Very beautiful. You're looking over water and you're looking at the 18th fairway there. There's people coming in. It's beautiful.
Both patios, Phil's patio and Izzy's patio, in like when it's good weather out, are perfect places to be. One is facing south, one's facing north, but you can like get what you want at either.
Yeah.
I personally like Phil's more than Izzy's. I feel like Phil's has got. I'm probably they're probably sharing a kitchen, and I'm talking out my ass here, but it feels different. Like it feels like I'm getting a little bit higher quality, different menu maybe. And it's the inside too. Got the leather chairs, and it's got that like kind of bunker bar feel. Yeah, really classic. Yeah. I went more like a Mexican restaurant that they tried to put on a golf course, kind of a thing, but it's still fun in its own right.
Sure.
Yeah. And then also, while we're talking about the goods and the food, not only do they have the turn stand on the Raptor course, but they got one on the Talon on the South course too, which is kind of connected to the Izzy's part. It's called the Roof.
Right.
And both places, man, are just so good. Pretty quick service. You never have to wait too long.
Is that on top of Mojo's there?
No, it's the one that's like next to Isabella's. It's like got the stairs that go up to the roof, and there's like a little window right below it. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, so when you make the turn on Talon, you can get the food there too.
I will say when it comes to
make great stuff.
Yeah, when it comes to also the food offering, it generally, if the course brings you back to the clubhouse after the front nine, you can usually expect better turn offerings. We've talked about it here on the pod before, where we constantly complain about little turn stands that are out in the middle of the course that just don't have a full offering or even anyone working at it past 4 p.m. So I think with both sides of Grayhawk, you're gonna get someone who's in there and you're gonna get some good food options.
Yeah.
While we're on the food, so one of my goods is specifically coffee. If you know me, I am a coffee snob, coffee nerd, probably more than I am a golf snob or nerd. And the fact that
bold claim.
I think it's true. And so like the Mojo thing, the cafe and the coffee itself, as far as the cafe goes, standard.
Yeah.
There's nothing crazy good or unique about it. But what is unique about it is that it's at a golf course in the clubhouse. You go to most golf courses anywhere in the country and you're getting, if there's coffee, you're getting the hot pot that's been sitting on the bar.
Right.
Or they'll say, yeah, we have iced coffee, and they'll take that pot and pour it over ice, and you're like crying to yourself. You're like, okay, thanks, I'll pay $8. But every time I want to go play a morning round, if I want coffee, I usually have to budget in time to go stop somewhere on my way in. And this is one of the few places I know of where I'm like, oh, it's a full cafe. I could go work from here if I wanted to after the round. They got tables and couches and stuff, but the coffee was really good. So I usually take cold brew from Mojo's, and then I walk over to the turn stand area and get like something if I want breakfast over there. Before you hit the cart. It's a great move.
Yeah, I get that. Food is underrated. You want to focus through a round. Sometimes I falter through the back nine, hitting holes 14, 15, 16. I falter, and I would think that sometimes it might be related to my my diet, man. If I haven't gotten something good in my system, what I'm saying, to work off of. So I think it's highly underrated.
It is.
You're only doing one banana. You got to do more bananas. You got to pump up those numbers.
Exactly.
It is. I figured it out. What, Shawn? Probably like a year and a half ago, where I just realized I was just getting hungry on the course, and quite frankly, I was getting hangry on the course. course.
Yeah, hang it.
I was insufferable to be around. Some might say I at some points I still am. Up for debate, but
if you're in the cart with TJ, just grab the next Uncrustable and just slide it over.
It's like a Snickers commercial. Like, just pull the Uncrustable out of my bag and hand it to me.
There you go, man. That's not a bad on course go to right
now.
No,
you freeze them beforehand, and then you put them in your bag as you're leaving, and then they thaw out over the round, and then it's a perfectly nice cold peanut butter and jelly.
That's everything Arizona. You freeze it beforehand. By the time you get there, it'll be melted and ready to go.
Yep.
Kubari, do you have any goods listed or off the top of your head that you love about this course?
So I'm a big visor fan. I think I mentioned this on one of your posts on social media recently. And I went through there and picked up a visor. Last time I was there at Grayhawk, I don't have it on right now. But like I said, everything they have in their pro shop is stuff you want to walk home with. The way they market the course, and a lot of courses do this, put their stamp on everything. But for me, the Grayhawk name is quite special in golf. I saw one of the NCAA tournaments here recently. Being able to see those golfers, man, dissect those greens, walk them up and down. You know what I'm saying? It's like they're just trading. It was very professional, something I had never seen, and I associated with this course. And so buying stuff out of their pro shop is good for me. I like traveling and wearing the Grayhawk name, and people are like, oh yeah, I saw them on ESPN or whatever it was, Golf Channel or whatever. So yeah, that's probably the main thing for me. Food wise, Grayhawk, the cafe there on the north side, like I said, fantastic, very classy. I think the area there is good for possibly shows or something like that. I don't know. I've got a lot of ideas for this area. I think for my space comedy, there's a lot lacking in the Scottsdale area outside of comedy clubs. And being that I'm a golfer and I've chased in golf clubs, way to the south, I think I can bring it right up here to the north. And there's space for that right here in Grayhawk.
Yeah. It's also a pretty popular wedding venue, if I recall.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
A lot of people get married out there. Like we already talked about, the restaurant looks out over 18 and the fairway and the water that they have there at the lake. Same thing with I think the wedding venue over there kind of looks out at the same, and you get some really nice views of the McDowell's from up there. Yeah,
very nice.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, the Raptor course, which we're talking about today, doesn't have a lot of distinguishing features on the holes. That's actually one of my bads, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But there is water on 10 and 18, and the clubhouse sits right there. So it paints a really beautiful picture from the patio when you see the lake, the hole, and then the mountains behind. It's a, for people who are from other places in the country and they come here, it hits all the desert golf check marks. It really does.
Great curb appeal. Right. If I can say so myself. If you were going to stop and you were only getting lunch there or something, you'd go, man, this is probably a phenomenal golf course just based upon what you can see immediately.
Sure. And my dad, I brought my dad out here. We didn't play Grayhawk, but he did say, won't you take me to the parking lot? Because he says you can tell a lot by a golf course by the parking lot. And I did that, and we had a lot of fun with that. But very, very top notch. The amenities there. You don't get a towel at most golf courses. Yeah. You don't even get cushioned seats in your cart at some golf courses. But at Grayhawk, man, they give you a little towel, give you cushioned seats. You got the GPS on the cart. Radio
loaded with ice in the cooler.
Ice in the cooler. I mean, those are amenities that are
bottles of water.
Yeah, some water. And I got to tell you, man, you got to watch it. I don't have a problem playing golf in triple-digit heat, but you do have to watch yourself. You do safety first, man. You can get out there and start feeling sick real quick.
I agree.
So them providing those amenities, fresh water, and of course, if you have a lot of water, you got to have bathrooms, and bathrooms are plenty there. I've never had a problem.
That's one of my goods, honestly. If I can talk about this. They are some of the best golf course bathrooms, man. There's like TPC Scottsdales are really nice too. They come to mind, but how often do you play TPC Scottsdale because it's cost so much money, you know?
Yeah.
Grayhawks, man, they have like they smell good inside. There's never anyone in there because there's bathrooms that are right next to the turn stand, so most people go in there. If you go into the locker room ones where the bathroom is and stuff, it's just like music's playing, it's quiet, it's nice and relaxing, and you're just like, this is nice. I could actually like just hang in here for a little bit as opposed to feeling like I got to rush.
Yeah.
That's a good for me is the bathrooms at Grayhawk.
I did. Yeah, I did have the locker room down as well. As a person who habitually gets to the golf course early and has certain things that they like to do before they tee off, a good locker room helps with that scenario.
Well, if you got coffee at the property, you're going to need good restrooms as well, right?
Exactly. I'll also not sure if we're wrapping up on pros here, but I also want to touch on the pro shop as well. Tons of great brands in there. An immaculate hat wall. There were multiple hats that I looked at in there where they were custom Grayhawk logos that they made for just the hats. Like one of the ones that keeps coming back to mind that I'm still like mad that I didn't buy was an Arizona iced tea one, but it was Grayhawk in the font instead.
That's
and
cool.
I had a very hard time not buying any hats in that pro shop. It was just so many options of very cool things that they've done with their logo or with their name in there.
Yeah. I have a few more pros actually real quick. The course itself is relatively gettable for a desert course in North Scottsdale. If you've played Boulders or you played Troon or you've played some of these other ones, Rancho Manana up north and Cave Creek, like they're all very gimmicky with the like big elevation change or big boulder right here, or there's a full canyon drop off of something. Raptor feels like it's on a relatively flat piece of desert and there's not a lot of gimmicks. So the holes can sometimes run together. However, it's like, hey, I know this template. I know how I'm going to score here.
Yeah.
I don't have to play this stupid dog leg right or left that bends 100 yards out. And, it's like, there's none of that. It's just very blind. Yeah, exactly. So I like that it's not that gimmicky. And I also like that it's gettable and right off the freeway too. So sometimes you want to play North Scottsdale, and I live in the south part of the valley. It's like I look at Google Maps, I'm like, oh god, this is an hour and a half for me, pretty much. But if I go to Grayhawk, it's like right off the highway, so it's enticing enough for me living in in Gilbert to like go up to Scottsdale because I'm like, yeah, that's easy to get to, and I like that it's just like next to a bunch of other stuff too. It doesn't feel like it's just so far up north or isolated. So that's a good for me.
Well, Shawn, I kind of differ a little bit from you in that I enjoy a gimmick. I enjoy a blind turn. I enjoy elevation change, going up or down. But I will say, with Grayhawk, from what I understand about desert golf, just off the tee, you got to get past, desert landscaping just to get into the fairway. And I consider that a little bit of a gimmick, in most of the holes. I got to put this thing, I got to get enough distance to put myself in the green, in the fairway.
Yeah.
And it's always a challenge. I don't always make it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, let's go into the bads, actually. That might be the first one. So like you do like that, which is funny because everyone's got their own style for sure.
Yeah. I think it was Talon, one of the last holes on the course. I think the green is sort of on an island or something like this.
17's the par 3 in Talon. That's got the
17's a par 3 that's surrounded by water.
Yeah.
It's a pretty good gimmick right there. It's a pretty good situation to. It was easy to put it in the drink, So
for sure.
Cool.
I too had the holes kind of starting to blend together as a con. I think Shawn and I even said it when we had played, where there was kind of a stretch through the back nine where we both kind of looked at each other and I think Shawn had forgotten to keep score at one point because I think we were just hitting, again, sun, alcohol, we could chalk it up to some of those things, but I think also like we were just kind of just playing golf, and it wasn't like, oh, this is the start of a new hole or anything like that. So it's like you do kind of just get some of that, like, okay, I'm on the tee. How far is this bunker out? Am I going to hit driver here, or is it going to be in trouble? And that was like beyond most of what the thinking that had to be.
And the shape of the holes too. On the GPS of the cart, they almost all look like they're going left to right a little bit, and it's just a long like strip of grass and then like desert around it.
Yeah,
and you're like, is that the last hole or is that this hole? I don't remember.
You're like, did the GPS click over yet or no? Like,
I feel that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I have that as a con also, the course being repetitive at times. I will say though, 10 and 18, they got the water and stuff, so it does. I like that. But on 10, maybe a con here for first-time golfers, which got TJ. And I end up, I play here and I forgot to tell him, is that the water crosses in front of the green on 10.
Yeah.
And I forgot about it. And he's like, he hits probably his best second shot he's hit all day. And he's like, it should be, oh no. Massey, did you not tell me about the water? I felt so bad. But yeah, it's a tough one.
I'll go hand up full transparency here. We completely mishit one off the tee, put it right in the water. Put the driver away. Like that was the last time I hit driver that day. Pulled out I think my hybrid, snap hooked one into just like the left side of the fairway. So still had a pretty decent second shot in, knowing that I'm not going to make the green, but I can poke one up there and be just short and think about getting a chip and a putt up there. And I laced one, and then we drive up there and I'm like, where's this ball? And then we like kind of crest over, because it's up on like, there's a little hill in the middle of the hole, and you kind of crest over. And then I'm like, wait, there's a creek on this hole. Like I'd already been frustrated about the ball in the water and the 50-yard tee shot, to where it's like, all right, I'm just hitting one as hard as I can and as far as I can at this point. We'll go from there. I'm not thinking about what could be in front of the hole. Also, we're in Arizona, where there's not a ton of creeks that run across fairways or holes ever. So,
dry creeks.
So word to the out-of-towners or first-time residents playing the Raptor course, there is a creek on 10. Either send it all the way for the green or lay up a little bit.
Go for it.
Go for it. For a con, I also had price. I know we talked about what was it, the Crazy Eights deal? In the summer, 8 rounds for $400. That is a phenomenal deal to play that golf course.
Yes.
If you do not have that pass and you are trying to play that golf course, it is still very pricey, even in the summer. I think Shawn and I paid $160 for an 8 a.m. Friday round in August, which is like paying over $100 in Arizona in August is generally unheard of. I don't
unpopular.
think it's definitely unpopular. But I mean, you're still going to get people out there because the course is great. But I know a lot of courses, and I guess, I mean, maybe they're shifting towards catching the people who are still out of town, who want to play a nice course while they're in town. And I mean, hey, supply and demand, right? If they weren't getting away with it, they wouldn't do it.
Sure.
But
you should see the prices in the winter. I mean, Kubari, you live there. How much are they in the winter? Do you know?
Well, I'm check. I just checked them right now, and I'm at $200 is what I would pay
already.
That's over my budget. I golf several times in a week, and it's going to kill my golf budget. So already early September, we're at $200, and I've seen it as much as $300. And that's why I've lived here for multiple years, and I just played it here in the last couple months because the prices were so low. But off season, and this is a con, off season, I am not able to afford the course that I live on.
Yep. Yeah. If you play anywhere shoulder season or during the Phoenix Open, because Grayhawk is one of the closest courses to TPC Scottsdale. Yeah. Oh my God, I've seen rates there over 400. It's
I don't know who's paying that. Yeah, I don't know who's paying
people are paying that. But I would never pay that.
It's priced like that. It's priced like that because somebody's paying it.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure. I've seen Troon close to 5. I've seen all those courses during Phoenix Open.
I'm not above paying it. If I'm traveling to a destination, and I put in for Torrey Pines recently, it didn't get it, but I would have paid. But just as something I'm doing, and like I said, I golf several times a week.
Yeah.
That wouldn't fit the budget. That wouldn't fit my personal budget.
I have a tough time getting on Torrey Pines, and I'm a resident.
Wow.
So, you're not alone.
One of my cons here, you guys aren't going to find this popular. Hand up, I am not fashionable here, but I find the logo of Grayhawk kind of boring, to be honest. It's the bird just doing the diagonal thing. And the reason I say it's boring is because there's a lot of other courses in the valley that have a bird doing that kind of a thing. And so like it's, I don't know, just feels like one of many types of logos in Arizona. But I will admit that their merch was incredible. So even though the logo itself wasn't my favorite, like what they put it on, especially the hats and a couple of the polos, I could totally see myself buying. So they had good product selection. I just wish the logo was a little better.
In the land where every piece of merch on a golf course is either a cactus or a roadrunner, I find the Hawk to be simple, very, very simple, very simple.
Yeah. I actually really like the Hawk because of how uncomplicated it is. Recently on the Balboa episode, I thought their logo was a flower, and it turns out it's so complicated. It's actually a Spanish conquistador, and none of us had recognized it. So I think there's a give and a take in having a cool logo like Wildwood that is a crudely drawn Sasquatch, and then also just an outline of a hawk that is Grayhawk. But you redeemed yourself a little bit by saying that they creatively use it in their merch to where you didn't absolutely pan their entire pro shop.
Hey, you guys are the authorities. I trust you more on this subject matter.
and the Phil Mickelson bag thing, man, that's
iconic.
In my eyes, that's iconic, man. To see this guy rocking that bag still, pretty cool.
Yeah, cool. That is really cool.
Do either of you guys have more cons on the course?
I do not. No. Kubari?
I don't have any more cons other than to say, it is. I find it incredibly challenging. The first time I played Talon, I'm a new golfer now. The first time I played Talon, I lost a ton of balls, man. But that's golf for me. You know what I'm saying? That's golf at times.
That's going to be desert golf for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Grayhawk, though, more than other Scottsdale courses, has desert you can find your ball sometimes because there's desert that's usually on the left side of the holes. That's OB, but then there's the desert share between holes where it's pretty flat and you can find it.
Yeah.
Versus like some courses where it's gone. Like you're never gonna go down there and find it.
Yeah. Let's talk pro tip for out of towners or first timers. Much like the Creek on 10, pack a desert club. Bring an old 7-iron or a 6-iron or an 8-iron, like one of those mid irons, just to have one that you feel comfortable punching out of, or one that's going to give you enough loft to just get back in the fairway as opposed to trying to take relief. Depends on if you're trying to play an honest game or not, but I would recommend it.
That's a good tip.
Well, after that guy recently called himself out for moving the ball in the sand trap, I forgot what his name was.
Oh, Sahith.
Man, I am more than ever committed to playing honest golf. I thought that was stand up as stand up can be, and I think that's a good thing to do. I play with guys that play the lie wherever it is, and I respect it. I respect the hell out of seeing somebody do that. So. Packing a club that you can strike the dirt with is a solid advice.
Yeah, he seems like a stand-up guy from everything I can tell, and that was a very honorable move.
100%.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna get into the must-play test, but before we do, we're gonna hear one more time from our sponsor, Brawn Fox.
No doubt about it. Shawn and I absolutely love the Brawn Fox hats. We just got our second round of hats. I went with this baby powderish blue rope hat, and then Shawn, I think you picked up one of the rope hats as well. But you've been absolutely loving the olive hat that you got the first time from them. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wearing this every day out here in the Arizona summer, and the sweat stains that usually come from every hat have not shown on this. It's held up really well. I've actually shelved the other hats that I typically wear out into the course, and I've just been wearing this. So I don't know what they did in there, but it's working, and this hat's been one of my favorites.
Yeah, absolutely love them. And they also just dropped 5 new hats. I think they actually came out this week. I think they called them like their 9/11 collection, just in honor of 9/11. They dropped 3 new hats in partnership with Folds of Honor in Tennessee. So that's got their logo on there. There's some cool colors that they haven't done previously. And then they've done 2 new American flag styles of hats, like an all white one with a white rubber patch on it. That's an American flag. And then they've done a darker, like foresty olive green. Shout out to Alex Diaz. He'll probably want to buy that hat. If you know anything about Alex, he loves forest green. So head over to their website. We'll repeat it as it was at the top of the show. BRAWNANDFOX.com/FairWagers to go take a look at those and claim your 15% off discount today.
All right, let's get into the must play test. TJ and I have devised an objective test of 10 questions to determine if a golf course is a must play. And the course must score a 6 out of 10 to be up for debate, or a 7 out of 10 or higher to automatically earn the coveted must-play status. We're going to pass-fail this test, so 2 of us need to pass in order for this to get the point.
I'm ready.
Question 1, the Augusta test. Will they have Kubari on as a stand-up comedian next Masters tournament?
Anything is possible, baby. All right?
Manifest it.
We had a man on the moon. Can I tell jokes at the Masters? Possibly.
I think so. All right. In our test, the Augusta test is this course easy to get a tee time on? Does it have a straightforward booking process? And are there times available the week of intended play? I'll go first because I'm usually the person who books the times for the group. Pretty easy to get on. If you're willing to pay the price, it is straightforward. You'll get a time. Usually because of the price, I think there are times available some days of the week. However, weekends are sometimes difficult to get on if you are waiting too long to book. But as far as this test goes, I'm a pass because I do think it is straightforward and easy to play. Would you guys agree?
I just researched the current tee times, and I can get on today if I wanted to. I've always found it pretty simple and straightforward. TJ mentioned earlier about the bag drop situation. I have been to courses where you don't know where you're going, and you're not really sure. And you pull up to this bag drop, like he said, well attended. You got 2 or 3 guys there. They're coming up to you, asking you what your tee time is and directing you. So all the way up to the first tee box is pretty solid here.
Yeah, I would have to agree. I know that Shawn booked my tee time, so usually I just give Shawn my vote on these if we played together. But I even did a little pre-research, and it's pretty straightforward in terms of how to get on here.
I like Kubari's addition to this question, though. Maybe we should think about like all the way to the first tee. Is it straightforward?
Right. Like there are a lot of courses. Is the pro shop easy to find?
Where do I go?
Yeah,
we talked about it at Torrey. I know we failed Torrey, but we talked about also on top of that, like in addition to there's a guy that you have to pay, and then there's a separate person that you have to pay for the cart or buy merch from. Like, do you have a resident card? Like there's a lot. I do kind of like that aspect of it.
Yeah. There's the guy, the ranger that gives you the rundown. How are their policies there? I did Rancho Mañana recently, and I had to listen to a guy go over 5 minutes of material. And at some point I was just like, okay, I got it. I'm ready to go. At Grayhawk, there was a ranger there at the first tee box. He did go through some information for me that was useful, but I didn't find it to be something that, I'm sitting through some sort of sales pitch or something like that, trying to buy timeshare. I'm just trying to golf.
Sometimes those guys like to hear themselves talk.
Exactly.
They're the retired guys that have no one else to talk to, so they just want to get out their life.
They're working here for the free tee times.
100%, and we all would if we could.
Indeed.
Yeah, that guy might be me in the future. Who knows?
Might be me.
All right, 1 for 1. So question 2, the bang for your buck test. Is this golf course worth the rate you pay? Do you feel like this course is a good value during peak season?
Peak season.
I personally, even if we take into account non-peak season, this is going to be a no for me. It's a great course. I don't want to take anything away from that. Like it's a very difficult, challenging course. Like Kubari mentioned, it's very well maintained. Greens were taken care of, fairways are taken care of, tee box are taken care of. It's all that you could ask for. It's a little too high up on my price range to pay for golf for what I am expecting to pay. Like, and going and playing, US Open caliber courses like Chambers and paying less than what you would probably pay in peak season to go play Chambers, right?
Yeah.
I won't let Torrey Pine sneak into here and get spoiled due to the resident card, but I think it's probably really close on what it could be in terms of how good it is and how good the full experience is. But I think it's just a little outside that range, so that's what makes it a no for me.
Kubari?
For me, and you said during peak season, that's the difference maker right there. I've seen those prices skyrocket, and for me to put that out that much, it would have to be a destination. I'm planning on traveling to Hawaii here in the near future.
Oh, nice.
I'd put out for one of those nice courses, or some place in Southern California, or just some place with a name or a history, or some sort of prestige. And while Grayhawk does have that, I think the NCAA championships are really cool. I'm driving through my neighborhood and I'm seeing the camera stands and stuff. It's very cool. Yeah. But it's not a destination. And while I'm trying to do this several times a week, like I've mentioned before, it's just not feasible to golf here, especially when there's good golf for way more reasonable prices in a short distance.
Mm-hmm. That's why it fails for me, is because it knows it's Scottsdale and it knows where it's at, and so they put out a rate in peak season that comparable to a 5 mile, 10 mile radius around it is comparable. But I think that whole zone of the valley is so overpriced during peak season. Yeah. If you're coming from out of town, and this test generally we're doing for a lot of people who aren't as familiar sometimes with this area or those courses, you're going to be like, Scottsdale, I know it's going to be expensive in the winter, but there's no other things open where I live in Minnesota or wherever you're from. Right. So I'm going to play. And you start looking and like, is Grayhawk worth that 300 something rate? I don't think so. I think for that amount of money, there's probably 10 other courses in the valley you could go play that aren't in the Scottsdale zip code that would still give you desert golf and really cool views. So yeah, that's why I think it's a fail. Okay. So 1 for 2. Question 3, the Iverson test.
We talk about practice, not a game. Practice,
not a game.
Not a game.
Does this talking about?
Practice.
Does this course have good practice facilities? So would you spend time warming up or just head for the bar before the round? I think we've all talked about this pretty extensively. Is it a path for all of us?
It's. I don't think we need to talk much more about it. It's a pass for me. It's phenomenal.
Kubari?
I'm just trying to remember back to my experience there with it, and especially when the Isabella's is open and running, you got a lot of stuff going on there. The greens are full of people, working on their game. It's a good environment. It's a pass for me as far as their practice facilities. Really nice environment. And this is on the south side, so the north side has their own range, which has less of a social aspect to it. You don't have the Isabella's kitchen right there behind you, and all that's going on there, but still very nice. So it's a pass for me on their practice facilities and the buckets of balls. That alone, man. I was gonna pour this bucket out. I was gonna just hit a few for nothing. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
We're gonna have to get you on some. I think we're going to have to connect and golf a little bit, Kubari. Because
let's do it, man. Let's do it. Let's do.
There's some courses out here that have that. What's that?
Let's do your course Coronado. I hear you guys.
Oh, they do not have
talking bad about it, but I also hear you guys saying, "Hey, let's play." So
we are not. You guys are not playing Coronado. I will veto that immediately.
Practice facilities is the only thing at Coronado.
it's they literally built a course around practice facilities
around one range.
Yeah. But sorry to take you off of Grayhawk though. It's a pass for me on their practice facilities. Very nice.
Yeah. And I know we've been talking a lot about the South Side, which is like considered Talon, but when both courses are open, you can go to either range. I've asked the guys before, hey, you mind if I go play on or practice down there? They don't have a problem with it usually, as long as you're at your hole for tee time. So
right.
Okay, so 2 for 3. Question 4, the Jonesy test. Could you see yourself spending $100 on merch in their pro shop? Do they have a logo or apparel worth wearing? I'll let you two take this.
It's a pass for me. I know Shawn thinks that the logo might be a little generic or a little boring, but like I said, I think they use it creatively enough that there is some stuff in there that definitely makes you want to buy it. I will also say if we are basing the question out of $100, you're not looking at buying too many things to hit that $100 mark. I saw I think it was like a transfusion-esque head cover in the pro shop. And I flipped over the price tag on it, and I think it was $135, which, don't get me wrong, it's probably genuine leather. And it was a very nice head cover, but that's very easy to spend $100 on. Plenty of hats. If you haven't seen, I highlighted the hat wall in our post when we did the day there. But just, a lot of hats to choose from. And then a lot of good, just regular merch as well. Flags, T-shirts, polos, all that.
Yeah. I am big on fashion. I love golf fashion. And there's some good fashion there in the pro shop. One thing in particular, the Grayhawk hat with the large Grayhawk across the top, large block letters, without the A or E, whichever, however you spell Grayhawk. So it's a little bit abbreviated. Very cool. I would do that again and again. It's got the little rope on it. I've seen it. I'll probably buy it next time I'm there. I like having stuff from my home when I travel. Recently bought a travel golf bag, so traveling with a towel that says something from Scottsdale, let people know where you're from. You know what I'm saying, without even telling them. Very cool. And since I live on the course, I'd spend $100 in the pro shop on merch that has their logo on it.
What do people assume about your golf game when you show up with the Grayhawk polo hat or a towel on the bag? Are they like, oh, this guy's gonna stomp our ass?
Former football player. I get that all the time. Hey man, what team did you play for? I'm like, I played in high school. I don't know. What do you want from me?
You're an SC guy. You live in North Scottsdale. You rep good golf courses. It all paints a picture.
Yeah, and I feel their disappointment when I tell them. I feel it. I feel it coming through. Their kids are like, "Oh man, this is great," and I'm like, I'm just a guy, man. I'm just a.
You're not just a guy, Kubari. You're
word. But I do. I don't know if this is the right time to tell this story here.
Go for it.
I did golf today, and one of the things that's a pro for me that I didn't get to mention is Grayhawk is a place you might meet somebody. You never know who's going to be in a place like Grayhawk, and evidently. Continental is a place you might meet somebody. I golfed Continental this morning and golfed with one of my childhood heroes, former NFL running back Amp Lee from the Florida State Seminoles was there this morning. We golfed together. I used to watch this guy when I was in middle school. You know what I'm saying? I was a big football fan and surprised to see he golfs, but surprised to see him there. And I think that Grayhawk is a big pro on Grayhawk, man. You never know who you could see there.
That's true.
Just down the street from Grayhawk, we ran into Randy Johnson recently, and
the big unit, man. And I just think it's a place where you can possibly meet somebody. It's that high profile of a place,
for sure.
Through that amply meeting in there. Just to, yeah, it's really cool meeting him today.
It is a good.
I rolled up on him. He's like, "Hey man, my name is Amp," and I'm like, "Your name is Amp? What's your last name?" He's like, "Lee," and I was like, "Whoa, man! I used to watch you on TV, son." You know, it's very cool, man.
That's cool.
Good golfer too.
Nice. So does he live out here? Is that why?
He lives out here, yep. His son is a Phoenix Sun, Saban Lee.
Oh, I did not know that Saban Lee's dad was a former NFL player.
Minnesota Vikings.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Florida State Seminoles.
TJ is a big Suns guy.
Nice. Oh, I'm a season ticket holder.
I mean,
Book
right here, man.
Let's take the next step, Book.
I know, man.
Let's take the next step, man. You should be in Steph Curry range, man. Let's do it.
Kubari, we got to stay on topic here. We can't turn this into a basketball podcast. We gotta.
Love it.
Back to the merch at this pro shop.
Yeah, just 2 for 4. 3 for 4. Keep it rolling.
No, 3 for 4. 3 for 4, right?
3 for 4.
Yeah. All right. Question 5, the buzzworthy test. Are there multiple holes worth talking about? Does the Raptor course specifically have more than one hole that a group would want to immediately go play again?
More than one, yes. Don't get me wrong. I would love to have 10 back. I would love to know about the creek running across. And I think 10 and 18 are great. 10 and 18 are both great holes. I think the only thing that might turn this into a nay for me would be that they're very similar in style of holes. I know 18 is a par 5, I believe, but they're both kind of just similar holes where the water's just kind of running along the right side outside of the creek. And I think the other point that it gets potentially taken away from it is you and I talking about how a lot of these holes start to feel
run together
very similar. So in the context of the test, yes, it does have more than one hole. It does not have like a necessary signature hole. People would probably say 18. They did, but it's still going to be a nay just because of that kind of that middle of the round that kind of felt like we were kind of just in a no man's land dragging a little bit.
Yeah.
Fails the test for me. As I think about it, I don't remember any holes specifically. I know it was a lovely course, beautiful, well taken care of, all that good stuff. But there's nothing that I remember specifically. And I've golfed. There's some courses that I've golfed once or twice where I can think back and remember some things, some challenges or something. And to your guys' point, things do kind of run together. Not that it's not challenging, beautiful to look at, and a good place, a fun place to play. It's just nothing that really stands out. Maybe that hole on Talon, what did you say it was, 17 or 18?
17,
that has the water around it. That was memorable.
See, but that's Talon. Talon, I think, personally, is a better course for our game than Raptor. I think Talon has way more memorable holes. It has like cool box canyons and little like bridge on one hole, and it's got the island green. I think Talon keeps my interest more than Raptor does. And we're talking about Raptor today for this test, and I think that it fails for the same reason.
Yeah, it fails for me.
Yeah. Okay, so 3 for 5. Question 6, the Glizzy test. Does this course have good food at the turn? Are you eating here or packing your own snacks? I'm eating here. We've talked about the food, the chicken Caesar wrap, the burritos, the sandwiches. I had a turkey sandwich last time I played Talon. I just was like, give me something more boring because it was a little cheaper. It was bomb. I was like, I don't need to go anywhere after. So specifically turn food at both the roof at Talon, but also the one attached to Raptor. I'm a fan. I pass it.
Yeah, you hand me the best chicken Caesar I've ever had, you get an automatic pass on my
yeah. Passes for me too. There's some good offerings there. Haven't had the chicken Caesar yet, but it does pass for me. Are we talking about after the round as well? We're talking about
that's coming up, but in this
it'll come up
just on the turn. Yeah. So do you want to change your opinion, or do you same pass for turn food only?
I'm not a big turn food guy. I've tried the hot dog at the turn once, and just got all messy while I'm trying to figure out what I want to do. Trying to keep up the pace of play. So I'm not a big at the turn food guy. I do like to eat after a good round, but it's something that doesn't really matter for me.
Neither is TJ's buddy Blake on the Tory
Mhm.
pod. He doesn't eat at
Doesn't eat
all.
anything. Doesn't eat anything.
I like a good snack, some beef jerky, which I got in my bag, a payday bar or something like that. But a full-on glizzy at the turn, it's just gonna.
Shawn loves the Snickers on the course. That's
that's not too bad. It's hard to maintain out here in the desert.
Take the Snickers, put it in the cooler with the ice, pull it out when it's a little more hard and crispy, and with like a cold beverage. Ugh.
I like the way you think, Shawn. I like the way you think.
Next one for you, Kubari, when we go.
All right. I appreciate that. All
right. So TJ and I are both passing this, and I don't know, where'd you fall on that, Kubari? Are you a fail or a pass because of?
It's a fail for me. It's a fail for me.
Okay. All right, 4 for 6. Question 7, the Marshall test. Does this course have a decent pace of play? Can you rely on a relatively quick round here if you have somewhere to be after? So I just got off Talon last week and Raptor with TJ, and both rounds were relatively fast / normal pace. The Marshall at the time, I don't know if you want to call him the Marshall, but the starter, the guy that you were talking about earlier, super low key and relaxed. We did play with 2 women who are really fast players, probably faster than TJ and I were. And the whole time, like, we didn't wait very much, I don't think at all, on a Friday. I played on the weekend at Talon, and also that round was fairly fine. So, and maybe that's just my experience, but I was a pass on this one. I've generally been able to expect a 4 to 4.5 hour round at Grayhawk.
Yeah.
Kubari, go ahead.
For me, it's a pass, but pace of play is not something I'm going to readily complain about. Some people say you got to relax or play golf to relax. I'm one that says, you got to relax to play golf. So if there's people in front of you that are having a time, man, let them have that time, because you're going to have one in a moment. Yeah. And so it's going to be hard for me to complain about pace of play. It's a tough game. Take your time. Think about it.
Yeah.
Line that shot up. You know what I'm saying?
I like that.
Step back and take a look at it. Take it all in.
Yeah.
Take some pictures of some ducks, man. Take your mind off that last shot you just made. Whatever it might be. But I understand pace of play. And whenever I'm playing and there are people in front of me, it's not a problem. Although I will say this, my time at Grayhawk, I did not experience any pace of play issues. We were pretty good.
Nice.
Agreed. It is a pass for me. I did not have any problems with pace of play. We played, like I said, we teed off at 8. We were done by noon, maybe a touch after noon.
Yeah.
I did kind of comb through some Google reviews and like some Golf Now reviews, and I did see some people potentially complaining about groups larger than 4 getting stacked up. People backing up to their buddies, which I can understand. I've done it on the course with my friends before. We've tried to get it. We've gotten it broken up. We've gotten it approved. From an optics standpoint, it never looks good to people, right? It never looks cool when you see 6 people on a green or 6 people on a tee box.
No.
So I did see some complaints. So if you're coming during peak season, that is something that you might run into. This could end up being a nay for you. Do not take our word as gospel here through our limited experience, but know that it can happen, but no much more than it can happen on probably any other golf course out there.
Yeah,
I was going to say any Scottsdale course in peak season is going to have that issue. There's so many trips of guys coming. TJ and I used to work in Old Town Scottsdale together, and when we would go out to lunch, you would walk by guys getting dropped off with their golf bags and their luggage. They would go straight from the airport to Old Town, go hit the bars or whatever, and you knew they were going to go hit the courses tomorrow.
Yeah.
And it was like daily you would see people coming in. Like, it's City of Scottsdale's doing some marketing, man. They're doing some work. Yeah.
But
anyways, that means that this is 5 for 7. So we got 3 more questions. If it gets one more, it's up for debate.
All right.
So question 8, the high handicapper test. Would a mid to high handicapper enjoy this course in typical conditions? Is the course fair to all handicaps, and are the greens or pin positions fair?
Absolutely not. This course is hard. We just talked about they play the NCAA championship there. Like specifically talking about the Raptor course, this is a difficult course. We talked about, sometimes these holes droned on, and I had to think about if my driver was going to carry this bunker. That's if I hit my driver straight. If I don't hit my driver straight and it goes into the desert, I've got to A, deal with trying to find it, or B, if I do find it, I got to break out that trusty desert club and punch one back out. We talked about the pot bunkers. We talked about how tricky the tiered greens are. When we talk about this test, sometimes I'll caveat it with it depends on what type of high handicapper you are. Do you lose a lot of your strokes around the green, or do you lose a lot of your strokes off the tee? Are you just topping balls? Like, is it your approach game? In this instance, this entire course can eat you up very quickly. Indeed. From tee to green, you can go out here and shoot higher than what the temperature is that day.
Sure. For me, it passes. There are quite a few courses I played as a high handicapper that are above my skill level, but I'm reaching for it. I want to, like I said, I started playing golf because it was so bad, and my goal was to be in the game. You know, people are making, I got a birdie putt. This is for par. And I'm like, man, I'm shooting a snowman here. You know what I'm saying? I didn't want that anymore for myself. And I appreciate a tough course. You know, on that Raptor, several times I didn't get past the desert landscaping. I didn't get out of that. So, and like I said, I haven't unlocked distance for myself. And sometimes I'm topping it. Sometimes I'm just, squibbing it or whatever it might be. So, but I appreciate the challenge. And even for a high handicapper, I think it's good to set that challenge up for yourself. I also keep a course like Continental in my back pocket for my practice.
There you go.
But I also like to reach up and do some more challenging courses. I was watching something on YouTube about Tiger Woods, how he used to practice with his father from his father's tee. You know what I'm saying? So they both hit from the same tee. Tiger was way shorter, but eventually, he caught up. And I think that's comedy. That's life. That's football, basketball, whatever it might be, business. I'm trying to reach up and play in the higher spaces, even though I might not even belong there.
Right.
I might be holding y'all back, but I'm gonna still play and try to do the best I can. And the game is coming along now, man. I'm golfing me. All right.
Guy just aced the hole last week. The other week, I mean, the game is definitely coming along.
Yeah,
I got a little box. My girl got a little box, and it has a little insignia on it that shows where I was, and I got it was a Nitro 4, little green Nitro 4 ball. It was a found ball that I got this hole in one, and I don't have it here with me, but I got a mantelpiece for it.
Don't let big golf ball fool you. You don't need Pro Vs to get aces, kids.
Yes, sir. You can get that 40 box of nitros and go to town, baby.
All right, so you guys are split here. And Kubari, while what you just said was very aspirational for me, I'm going to agree with TJ, and here's why. There's a part of this question is the course fair to all handicaps? This course, more than other courses I've played in Scottsdale, is like, if you're playing with a buddy that's probably a single digit and you're mid to higher, your single digit buddy doesn't see the same tree in their sight line that you're looking at. Doesn't see the same bunker or doesn't see the same bend because their line is over here. And every hole, because this was designed for tournament play, has a line that if you can reach it, and most lower, handicappers can, it just is not even fair to the mid to high handicappers because they are forced to take this, then this, or whatever the case is on some of these holes. And so I feel like for that reason, even if you were going to play a handicap adjusted match, there's just a little bit more favor given to the low handicaps. And so for that reason, I know it's very picky, but I am going to fail it for that reason. So
nice.
But overall, they don't do anything quirky with pin positions. It's, it's in that regards gettable, but it is still going to be a very tough course for you if you're coming from out of town.
Sure. And I have experience, with the tiered greens. I have experienced pins right at the top of a second
When it
level.
comes back, yeah.
Yeah, so it's a challenge. Yeah, putting uphill for me is always a challenge. So
Yeah,
a little tricky.
So hard to jump speed.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 for 8. So it's got 2 more questions here to try.
This is great. I enjoy these questions, man. You know what I'm saying? It makes me think about it.
Do you like the test so far?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Blizzy,
Nice.
let's do it. Let's do it.
All right, question 9, the vibes test. Is this course worth staying at post round? Do they have a good restaurant or patio scene? Kubari, you start because you were going to talk about the food outside the touring stand.
All right. My screen is frozen. Can you still see me?
Yeah, I can still see
still
it.
hear you.
Very good. All right. Isabella's is fantastic. I love to stop and eat there afterward. I'm a wing guy. The wings there, the hot wings there, are not these big, huge wings that look like drumsticks. You know, that kind of grosses me out. They're regular size wings, delicious. Pizza there is great. They even have an octopus. If you're into seafood, they even have an octopus entree there. That's delicious. On the other side, the wings are also good along with the soup. And I've never had anything bad there. I've nothing but good things to say about the after round treats. And of course, having a beer after a round of golf, man, there's nothing like it. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and pass Grayhawk for their after round facilities. Very nice.
I'm a pass as well. Phil's Grill alone and Izzy's to an extent are both great places to stay after. There's so many options. Quill Creek Cafe too. It just, for me, it's like, even if I know I'm tight on time, I'm going to try and stay there after for a beer at least. It's just got a good vibe afterwards.
Yeah, it's a pass for me as well. I think the very understated thing here is it having 2 courses and it also having 2 restaurants is huge.
Yeah.
Knowing that, like, if one is very busy and you are on like a little bit of a time crunch and you just want to like sneak in and get a beer, like there's 2 different bars that you can go look at and like find a quick spot at or find a quick table at to sit down and enjoy a beer. And then they both have good views. The Raptor side, it's got 18. You can see 18. You can kind of look over at 10. You can see people warming up there. And then on the Talon side, you've got the full practice range there where you can watch people warming up for their rounds.
I agree. All right, so 6 for 9. It's officially up for debate, but let's see if you can pass this last question here. The dime a dozen test, question 10. Is this course unique to the area, or could you get this golf experience somewhere else on your trip or visit? And I want you to think about the golf experience. So it's not just the course, right?
Yeah. It's funny. Normally I do a little bit of prep work and I write down if I'm a yay or a nay for every question. And I don't let things necessarily sway me, and I stick in my answers. This one I had written down as a game time decision because for desert golf and the price that it's at, I feel like there's a lot of other options in that area. We've talked about Boulders, we've talked about Troon, we've talked about Rancho Mañana. There's obviously plenty of other places all along the 101 if we talk about going out to like Weekopah or Quintero or any of those, right? But when we talk about the whole vibe of everything together, I also feel like a lot of those other courses have those, but don't necessarily have like the food offering where you necessarily want to hang out after. Like I think I've only played Troon once in my life, but I don't recall really going to Troon and wanting to like hang out at Troon after.
They have a good scene, but it's not the same as Grayhawks.
Maybe when I played it, I just didn't feel like I belonged at Troon. I was much younger, so that could be it. So I think I might sit on the fence here, and I think I might let one of you guys try and sell me on your ideas if you guys have differing ideas, or I might just fall in and be the third yes or no and agree with you guys.
Okay. Kubari,
when I think desert golf, Grayhawk supplies it. However, when I hear this question, I think of the whole experience and location. Man, you're in North Scottsdale, Arizona. It's a different place. I come from a different place, so I recognize that it's a different feel to it. And a lot of what you have in this area is plush, man. It's laid out. It's let me take your bag, sir, type stuff. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I get. out of the golfing experience at Grayhawk. Like I said, the amenities there, they're not providing towels in a lot of these other places, even some of these nicer courses. They're not providing ice and a couple of waters in there for you. And that for me means something. So it feels like Scottsdale. It feels like the area. And so I'm going to say it passes for me. And another thing I wanted to add, the GPS on the golf carts. Sometimes it's a pain in the ass. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a little close to the green. All right. I'm working on it. Don't turn me off though, man.
To be fair, I will say we did not run into any issues with the cart that day on like restricted areas or them stopping us from driving anywhere.
Sure.
I have not thought about that in the scope of any of our tests, but I like that point a lot.
Pain in the ass. And I ran into it a couple of times, not even being close to the green, sort of like out of bounds. Hey, I'm trying to look for my ball. So give me a break here.
We'll have to add that into the high handicapper test.
Yeah.
Does your cart stop frequently when looking for your ball?
Exactly. So now I'm driving backwards, trying to look for my ball. It's a pain, man.
But you are passing this that you think the experience is unique to the area.
Yeah, having that technology in the golf cart, they're watching you. Yeah. That's unique.
That tech is in a lot of golf carts in the valley.
Sure.
But I think you mentioned a couple other things there. I was like TJ. I was like, okay, one day I was failing this test. The next day I was passing it in my mind because we've been thinking about it for a bit. I will say, if you're like thinking of Scottsdale, and not only just Scottsdale, because we just talked about this 51 courses, right? Just North Scottsdale, north of the 101 freeway.
Yeah,
there are at least 2 or 3 other courses that remind me of Grayhawk, where I'm like, no, it's not unique in terms of its layout. But when I think of the experience, and I think of, like, I mentioned the coffee, no other place really has a cafe attached to it.
Yeah,
the locker rooms are really nice. You get that at other places, but like the staff here is pretty cool. I don't think any of us have mentioned this yet on the pod, and I don't know if this is PC or not to say, but I'm just going to say 2 words. Cart girls. This place is great. It's amazing.
The views.
The
views is how is the more PC way to say it.
Couple of first round draft picks out there, fellas.
Yes, I've been all around Scottsdale. I have to say, Grayhawk, wins in this category. And so, anyways, I think if you're going to add all of that stuff with like the amenities and what you get from the experience and how easy it is to get to, I actually do think it is unique. It is somewhere where if I had an out of towner coming in, and I'm like, they want to play Scottsdale golf, Grayhawk probably comes to mind of like somewhere I would take them. So I'm going to pass this one.
Nice.
So TJ, your vote doesn't matter technically. So where's your heart leaning now?
I can sway. I think a lot of times when we phrased a lot of these questions, we put them in the aspect of the out of towner. Should someone travel and go play this course?
Yeah.
It definitely fits that narrative. I think I was chatting with somebody else on Instagram that we follow and talked to them. They were playing Grayhawk, and I asked if they were playing Raptor or Town. They were playing Raptor that day. And then he told us the litany of courses, and they were playing like, it was really cool because they were playing like the where's where of North Scottsdale / Phoenix courses, where it was like they did like, I think they did Quintero, Raptor, Weekapaw, and then I think they were also making the trek out to like Southern Dunes. And I was like, man, you guys checked a lot of boxes in 4 days. Like, you guys and you guys didn't just like say like, oh, hey, we're staying around here, let's play all these courses. But I do like the aspect of like Grayhawk is very convenient and easy to get to if you are from out of town. You are, I talked about like the Troon thing, and it's like, it's a pain to get up to Troon. Like, if you're out of town and you're trying to get up there, you're probably not going to budget like enough time to think about, oh, we've got to drive all the way up there. You're like, oh no, it's just in North Scottsdale. I think a little combination of what both of you guys said, I think you guys probably would have swayed me into a pass if it mattered. But it doesn't matter. So here we are.
Okay, then I think congratulations are in order for Grayhawk here, because it's officially 7 out of 10, a must play.
Woo!
We did it.
Very nice.
Fanfare.
I didn't know if it was going to be a 6 or a 7 before we started, but I knew it was in that range.
When I looked at it, I think I had it as like 6 counted, and then the dime a dozen test was the game time decision, where I was like, it is a fully cruxed on this test alone.
Yeah.
This is good golf. this is really good golf. When I zoom out and think about the whole experience, very positive, very clean, very well maintained, very well attended. I can't think of an area that I'm just really down on. So this is good golf for me.
Yeah, I mean, I shot a 102 that day. The driver was not in the bag at all. Like it was
Not
the driver
present.
was wild. No, we were mortal enemies that day, and the rest of the day was everything else about the entire experience was so great that it made me forget that I even shot a 102. And actually, the 102 was good for that day because we did break the high of 106 that day.
Yeah. Wow.
All right, well, that does it for this episode of Must Play. So Grayhawk is a 7 out of 10, and it's must play. But Kubari, I want to learn more about where people can find you online, and maybe if you got any gigs lined up. But anything you want to plug before we go?
Yeah, Comedy with Kubari. I started comedy 4 years ago. Been working on it. I came over from ministry. I was a preacher for 15 years. And so I've been working the comedy scene, and I continue to work it. Excited for later on this month. I'll be in Las Vegas at the LA Comedy Club at the Stratosphere Hotel. That's on September 22nd. Nice. I'll be there, and coming back to Phoenix on October 12th. Looking forward to Comedy with Kubari and friends with benefits. DM me for that information. Check me out at Comedy with Kubari. Anywhere you do social media, type in Kubari. It'll be me and one other African dude saying hello, and we'll do whatever we can to put a smile on your face. Comedy with Kubari, created to make you smile. I had a great time on this podcast today. Thank you guys so much for having me. My thanks and a shout out to Caitlin Rowland, a friend of the program, a friend of these two guys. I really appreciate you for connecting me with these guys. I really appreciate the opportunity.
Yeah. Shout out to Caitlin for the great work. Kubari, you crushed it today. We were more than happy to have you on.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you again, Kubari, and we'll see you guys next time.
All right. Thank you.
Later, guys.